So, hello guys, this is Hari Krishna, and we, along with all other three members in our group, namely Vipin Parthan, Chris Anthony, and Balaji, will be focusing on swappable battery electrical vehicle that has been storming the Indian market for the past 2 years. Why we have gone with such type of two-wheeler market is the electrification, as we know, is the future that we are heading to, and penetration towards two-wheeler will be a major focus when compared to that of the passenger vehicles and heavy duty. That's why we are focusing on electrical vehicles, swappable battery technology in two-wheelers. So the vehicle that we have chosen is Revolt's RB400, which happens to be a friendly commutator, but yet giving out maximum power at the minimum price according that they can provide. So myself, Hari Krishna, I'll be giving a base overall review, an overall view of what this RB400 is with its outer structure and capabilities. So let's start the session. Starting on with what the RV400 it is like, it will be powered by a 3 kilowatt motor producing 170 newton meters of the torque. So that's where the place for the electrical vehicles. As we know, electrical vehicles have instant torque capacity or torque demand that they'll provide from the word start go. So that's where this electrical vehicle is going to be having a very big impact on Indian market, even when dealing with bumper to bumper traffic or while going for a city cruising condition. This is going to be a heavy big factor that is going to be impacting. So the 3 kilowatt motor will pump out 170 Newton meters of torque, which is an insane amount of torque for a two wheeler. So that is what this Revolt RV400 is capable of. Going over to the structure of this RV400, it comes with a single craded steel frame, which is rigidly structurized so that there can be proper weight distribution when two people are sitting, and the battery placement is kept at center of the vehicle. As you know, here there is no engine. Since it is an electrical vehicle, there is no engine, so the battery along with its BMS components and all other auxiliaries have to be placed in such a way that it doesn't affect the center of gravity as much as gives the better stability when compared to that of the conventional engine. So electrification is the next step in transportation as we know it. So that's why if we are omitting one kind of a development, we should make sure the new invention that is replacing the old one should be equally promising. So then only the attention grabbing aspect of that particular thing raises to a great extent. So that is what it is about. And going over with what the as I told you about the single cradle steel frame, moving over with the front suspension, you have upward facing strokes. So to put it in a simple, upside down strokes you have, like suspension strokes you have. And going over to the entire weight of the vehicle, it just weighs around 108 kgs. But the sweet spot is that the 108 kgs can give you better stability during the city traffic condition and even for maneuverability. So going over with all those kinds of aspects, this electrical vehicle, that is the Revolt RV400, proves to be a better commutator more than a focused driving position. So that's what this entire session is going to be. I'll be just, as I told you, I'll be giving the review of this vehicle, followed by three of my colleagues will be giving on an in-depth review of battery, BMS, load, and power sources. So the RV comes with the three driving modes, namely Eco, Normal, and Sport. And these riding modes have their own set of range in it. So for electrical vehicle, as we know, range here happens to be an important issue. So when you're driving it in Eco mode, it will be at 150 kilometers. The range will be 150 kilometers, followed by if you shift to normal mode, it will be at 100 kilometers. And if you're taking over the topmost mode, which is the sport mode, definitely if power increases, so does your the decrease in range will definitely take place. So the in the third mode, when you are switching it over to sport mode, the range will be around 80 kilometers. So that is what this range is about. Now, some of the technologies that come with this vehicle is that you have geofencing. What is this geofencing? Geofencing gives the characteristic data of your vehicle based on the usage you do. For example, if someone is taking a vehicle after like over a certain perimeter or a certain radius, you can track the status of your vehicle at what speed that person has been riding your vehicle and where it has gone. So this can be actually used as a log for your vehicle, maybe like 2 or 3 months back if it is usage has been according to that aspect. So going over to the diagnostic. So this is where the entire electrical vehicle has to take care of all its components, diagnostic. Because if engines have been ruling this entire transportation for the past 100 years, this electric mobility has to happen to have a proper diagnostic aspect, so that everything has to be maintained well within the constraint, yet giving out maximum possible output for the customer satisfaction. So bike diagnostic monitors battery level, SO, state of health, and network carrier strength. And because of this diagnostic, you also will be getting on-air update into the vehicle. That's where the AI is coming in. So it is one of the vehicles in which artificial intelligence has been applied to a minimum level, so that it gives an introduction of what AI will be actually. And there's a question that if it is a electrical vehicle, how come blind people and old people know that if the vehicle is approaching when the vehicle is being so silent? Because there is no noise producing aspect. If you have a conventional vehicle, you have engine in it to produce noise. Whereas in electrical vehicle, there's no such type of thing. So people got to notice, right? And that's where the RV400 has made a further implement by by giving out an artificial noise based on the motor vehicle noise that you want it to produce, using a speaker system at the heart of the battery. So the speaker system will be placed near to the battery, and when you rev it, you will have an artificial noise which mimics the noise of an internal combustion engine. Well, that can also be shut off based on your requirement. So that's where it's all about. And you have, as I told you, since this is an electrical vehicle, the major focus from the customer's point of view will be on the charging, followed by the range. After range, it will be definitely charging. So people will start asking why, how is this, how much it is reliable when compared to a conventional engine based on the charging or mileage or fuel efficiency. So this particular vehicle comes with a swappable battery technology. What is this swappable battery? Swappable battery technology allows you to change your battery. If one depletes, you can change it with another battery based on the request that you put forward to the Revolt organization through the Revolt app that will be registered onto your phone when you buy the vehicle, when you buy the bike. So there are three kinds of charging in it. One will be an onboard charger where you can directly connect your vehicle to the nearest grid. And next one will be to remove the battery and charge it. And third one will be to switch your battery. So these are the three types that will be further given a detailed review by one of my colleagues in this session itself. So these are all the basic overall reviews of what this vehicle is capable of. And to put forward, this vehicle has a better aerodynamic efficiency. So because simply coming into market as an electrical vehicle is not going to have a very big influence on it. It should, as I told you, it should be a very good substitute, or it should be a very good replacement to the conventional engine or conventional mode of transportation that we use. So that's where the Revolt RV comes in. So with 17 inches tires, which makes it a good commuting, good commuting aspect. 17 inches tires, or maybe that instant torque that I told you, or even the driver information or rider information display that pumps out the maximum, that shows or pumps out maximum information that the driver has to know, not from the electrical point of view. That is where this has to play. Not everybody riding the RV400 will be a pioneer or will be a specialist in electronics. So it will be a common man. So those information will only be there which can make the common man understand, and he can act according to it. Though that's where this, what you say, complexity has been reduced by the RV400. So as you can see from this poster, you can see there are four main modules that we'll be focusing about. First one is the battery management system, power source, battery, and load. As from the name itself, you know the battery management system is definitely used for managing the battery aspects based on the source and power. So power source and load. Battery, you have different kinds of battery, and that will be also based on the application you choose that battery should act on. So lithium ion has always been a positive approach towards the electrification of mobility due to its better energy density and long lasting life period and load. So based on the vehicle, since this is one of the first generation of the Revolt thing, there can be drawbacks, but the more positive side is to look at how the vehicle handles despite having being one of its first gen to come out. So that is also an important aspect for us to look for. And third one will be the power source. So since it is have, as I told you, the three methods of charging is there. That's where the power source comes in. So the BMS has to take care or manage the entire three different situations and make sure that the proper power supply and distribution without any interruption in the power. So this is the basic focus or basic overall view of what this vehicle is about, followed by the in-depth review or in-depth details of the battery will be continued by Balaji. Balaji, you can carry on.
So batteries. We all know that battery is the main power source for all the battery operated vehicles, and this Revolt 400, they use lithium ion batteries. Why lithium ion batteries? The reason is lithium ion batteries have high power to weight ratio, high energy efficiency, and good high temperature performance. In practice, these batteries hold lot of energy for their weight. And if we look into the specification of Revolt 400 batteries, the voltage is around 72 voltage and the capacity is around 45 amperes. If we look into the wattage of the battery, it's nothing but the multiplication of voltage and the capacity. It's more or less the energy of the battery. It is around 3.24 kilowatt hours. And if we look into the specific energy of the battery, generally speaking, specific energy decides the range of the battery. Higher the specific energy, higher the range of the vehicle. The specific energy is around 170 watt hours per kilogram, and the mass of the battery pack is around 19 kilograms. If we look into the operating temperature of the batteries, it is around 10 degrees Celsius to 55 degrees Celsius. The battery temperature should not go beyond the 55 degrees Celsius and it shouldn't come below the 10 degrees Celsius. It will obviously affect the state of health of the battery. The battery will start to degrade, and obviously it affects the state of charge as well as the state of health of the battery. The charging time of the battery is around 4.5 hours. So these are all the basic parameters of lithium of RV400 batteries. These batteries work along with the battery management system. So battery management system and the battery is a very much important thing in any electric vehicles. So battery management system will be explained by my friend Chris Anthony. Chris.
So yeah, so the battery management system has a basic functionality of trying to control the parameters of the battery. So in a basic sense, you want to avoid overloading the battery or letting the battery drain too much. You want to control the temperature of the battery. You want to control the state of charge. You want to measure the state of charge. You want to measure the state of health. You want to measure how much charge is remaining in a battery after a particular drive time is used, and you want to kind of keep the temperature of the battery within a variable range. So for that, you have your battery management system. So your battery management system consists of a battery pack, and the battery pack is joined with your cell management IC. Now the cell management IC senses the voltage, the current, and the temperature of the batteries. So you can sense the module parameters, or you can sense individual cell parameters, which helps you to predict what a parallel set or a series set of batteries has as its voltage, its current, and its temperature. Now the cell management system is relaying information to a 32-bit controller unit. Now the controller unit is from where you transfer your data to your entire battery management system or the ECU of the vehicle, which stores it or updates it to the cloud. So you use a CAN interface for that, and then you have all these regulators. Now the power supply that you have to the battery is being regulated, so you want to not overcharge the battery. So the power supply that you get is like a 230-volt uh, or 15 ampere socket at 50 hertz of supply. So you want to control the limits of the power that is coming from the power source into the battery. So the battery management system still comes into play. Moving on, so you have voltage measurement. So you can measure, as I said it before, you can measure the bus voltage or you can measure individual cell voltage. Then you want to measure which cells or which line of cells has like the maximum cell voltage or the minimum cell voltage. So it can predict that these cells have a lower state of health compared to the other cells. you want to also take into account the temperature of the battery, the coolant temperature. So for example, the Revolt is using normal outside air to cool it. So you want to take into consideration the air temperature, which will cool the battery, run over it, and reduce the temperature of the battery. Then constantly you want to measure the state of charge of the battery, which will indicate the charge level. Then you want to measure the state of health. The state of health of a battery is a measurement which tells you the total capacity available in the battery as compared to when it was originally placed. So this is a measurement of all the electronic parameters of the battery. And then you have a thermal management. Thermal management can be either active or passive. So these all variables are taken into consideration in the battery management system, and you must require some kind of outlook in this, so that you want to keep the temperature of the battery within a certain limit. Moving forward, you have communication of the battery that is done. So you use CAN bus communication, or you kind of use some kind of wireless communication. The most commonly used is CAN bus in this case, because the amount of data that you want to deliver from the BMS to the ECU or and then to the cloud is not too much in case, so you don't want to use LAN, etc. And you have your safety operations of the battery. So the BMS also has an internal switch. It's either a relay or a solid state device which shuts the battery with respect to the power source or its load if it crosses over a boundary of operation. So you want to control the kind of current or the voltage that the battery is operating on, and you want to control the power source from where it is getting the power from. So in this case, as this RB400 uses a lithium-ion battery, you have all these parameters that are taken into place. Now, the topology that is mostly used in this case is a modular topology, because they have like a single set, a modular battery set, in which you have a single ECU which runs in conjunction with a lot of ICs. So the single control unit takes information from each cell management IC, and then delivers the information to the engine control unit. So the further part will be taken by Vipin.
All right. So talking about the different kinds of loads that the swappable battery type electric vehicle uses, I'll just give an overview of what kind of loads basically an electric vehicle has. There are two major kinds of loads that an electric vehicle uses. First is inductive resistive load, and the second is an inductive load. Resistive load is basically loads which generate heat upon using electric power. And for an example for that would be basically the lights that we use. And inductive loads are basically loads which generate magnetic field. For example, the motors, horns, etc. They are considered as inductive loads. So moving specifically on to the loads of the Revolt RV400, we have primarily the motor, which delivers power to the rear wheel. So it is a 3 kilowatt BLDC motor, and it has a mid-drive system which delivers power to the rear wheel. Then the heads that are used here are of 55 watts, and an additional daylight running lamp of 30 watts is also used. The tail lamps are basically of lower power watt, which is of 4 watts. And the tail lamps are basically of 4 watts. Then we have the speedometer console, which consumes 12 volts, which is basically 12 volts. And the navigation 4G SIM system, the applications that are basically available on the feature-filled RV400, in total consumes around 100 watts. One that is used is it consumes a meager 6 watts, and there is another speaker system of 25 watts through which 4 different artificial exhaust notes can be played. The ABS indicator is basically a 12 volt LED, and also a malfunction indicator which is of 12 volts is also used. The turn signals which are there two in the front and two behind, consumes 10 watts each and also runs at 12 volts. There are two different ways in which the power source which can be considered as the power source for the Revolt RV400. The first method is the battery swapping method. The battery swapping method has two methods. One is using swapping from swapping stations, or what is called as remote switch stations. The average time for replacing a battery from the Revolt RV400 is around 5 to 7 minutes. So it is equivalent to how much time we spend in a conventional vehicle for filling a diesel or petrol. So another method is, as Hari had mentioned in the first time, is a delivery system. It is an SOS delivery system through the My Revolt app, and it is estimated around 90 minutes for the replacement process. The charging can be done using a portable 15 ampere charger, and this can be plugged into the normal 15 ampere 230 volts 50 hertz household power supply system. The charging can be done in two ways. One, with the battery on board the vehicle, and also by removing the battery and charging it separately. So these are basically the methods by which the Revolt RV400 can be charged.
So thank you, Balaji, Chris, and Vipin for explaining the internal depth review of what the components of an actually electrical vehicle has happened. So to just point out, since this is a swappable battery, there should be definitely some advantages, right? So I'll just point it out. One is that swapping only takes a couple of minutes. As Vipin told, it's just similar to what a conventional vehicle has to fill up the diesel or petrol. So swapping means just take the battery out, put the new battery. That is where it is. Next one is, because of this, the waiting time is definitely reduced. You don't have to wait for a long period of time. That's the ultimate goal. Next thing will be the capital cost of the electrical vehicle can also be reduced, since we are dealing with swappable batteries. If it is a attached batteries, then that the cost definitely increases. But if it is swappable battery, the capital cost will be reduced, and mainly the congestion in the charging station will be definitely reduced, because swappable battery means you take the one which is depleted and you replace it with a new one, and therefore you don't have to make sure that you don't have to always be in the thought that the vehicle will be depleted anytime, because you have the swappable battery in your hand. And if at all not, you can also actually order it through your app, then they'll be delivering it to your place that is desired for you. So these are all the major benefits when coming into the swappable battery side of the electrical vehicle. So overall, our focus was to give a depth review of this particular vehicle that we have chosen, because electrification is the future of transportation, as I said. So let all of us together make sure this electrification takes place in our mobility, so that there can be less amount of pollution and greater amount of transportation with satisfied customers and riders and drivers. So that is all. Thank you.